everybody. I'm Kadri, and I'm just wondering, does anybody have clicker so I can put it forward?
I do, but I don't know if the clicking works.
Yeah, maybe I just press forward.
Here.
Okay, so I will not let that disturb me. I will put this one into my computer. Ma juba sain. Okay. Oh. Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Kadri, and my talk is going to be about startups and service design. First of all, I'm going to talk about service design, and then I'm going to move on to startups. As I'm very fresh in startups, then like 80% of it is going to be about service design, because my passion for startups grew out from service design. And if I move forward, then, as I already said, this is not another success story, because my startup is really new. We are in a private beta phase, which means that we are not public yet. We have few test customers, and we are not planning to launch in a month, so we'll see how it goes. My startup is about measuring people's happiness inside companies. For example, if you want to have a team and want to know their highs and lows and have meaningful one-on-ones, then please look us up, clanbeat.com, and enter your name so we can send you data if we are ready. But a little bit about me. I have a past in advertising and marketing. I was leading many marketing projects regarding Swedbank, Estonian marketing in German market. I launched the digital ID in Azerbaijan market, and it was about 7 years of my life. And then I started to get excited about mobile applications, digital world, everything that can be achieved with IT. And I started going to garage events, and I really started to get into service design. And it ended up, I did my master's in service design and combining service design processes with mobile application creation. So I was learning the process management of creating mobile applications. And about a little time ago, I made a decision to quit this advertising life and start my service design and startup life. So service designer and startup life are quite new, but I'm really enthusiastic about it, and I'm going to talk about it, what I know. And you can always interfere, ask anything, just raise your hand, and I'm really collaborative. So before I go into all the graphs and all the data behind service design, first of all, I want to know how many of you have had contacts with service design before, or know what it is, so I know how deep I go. Okay, some people know. When I assigned here into this conference, I thought I'm going to talk about the theory and how I'm starting to use it in my startup. And then I thought, last week, I thought that I'm going to get a gym membership. Here, if you look outside the window, there is My Fitness. And I thought, okay, if I go every day with my team members, lunchtime, it's okay, because I want to improve my running skills, etc. And my team members were already members. And now I'm going to tell you a story which can relate better to service design and help you go through my presentation and get relations. My friends, two of them, working together with me, every day, 10 o'clock, stood up, went to My Fitness. I, as a head of product, left in there and doing work on my own. I thought, okay, it would be better team-wise and myself-wise if I joined them. And they said, oh, it's really cool, it's so digital, you can put your card and just go in, and you can book your dates and the classes online, and if you go there, they give you a free bag. I was like, oh, it sounds good, I have to go. And I went online because my friend said that if you go online, then you will get a discount from the signage fee. So I went online, I signed myself up, put many little clicks here, went to the bank, paid my first bill for the for joining and for first month, and thought, okay, that's it now. Now I have to show up. And I went 15-20 minutes before, and there was this one lady before me, and she was stuck between different gyms, and she had signed up somewhere and she didn't know where she had to go. So the receptionist was dealing with her and didn't have any time for me. And I thought that I'm just going to take my card and going to in. And I was waiting there for 10 minutes, started to get anxious because the time was approaching. And then she gave me a big contract. I said, I already signed everything online, why I had to do it here? No, these are different terms, you have to do it again here. And then I was okay. Then I bought socks. Actually, these socks are the only thing combining me and my fitness right now. And this is my coach on the same night when I thought I'm going to have a good practice. And then she gave me my card, and I said, whoa, you gave me already contract, and I cannot read it so fast because I never sign anything which is given to me, and I have to sign it before I can read it. So I read it, signed it, got my key, and she said, you have to put your key and hold it against this wall, and so the screen will show you which training you can have. I put my key, and there was different classes, but not the one I signed up online before. I said, why is that? She said, it's because the official entering to this training ends 5 minutes before this training can start. So your reservation is cancelled. I said, okay, but can I still go in? No, somebody already stepped at your place minutes before you were just standing here. I said, are you kidding me? I was standing here 20 minutes and I cannot go to the training, and my friends already went and they're waiting for me inside. And no, you cannot go, but you can still look if you want to go another training or something. I said, no, I don't want to go to another training because my friends are there. And she said, sorry, I can't do anything. And then I got fined because I was registering myself in the online and I didn't show up to the training. So then I was totally frustrated, went out of the room and said to myself, I really want to strangle somebody, and went back to my desk and started doing work. And it didn't frustrate me, the system or the person. It frustrated me because I'm the digital enthusiast. I love service design. I love Estonian companies. And I was disappointed. But now it's already been 1 week and I'm over it. But I'm still sharing you the story, and it's a really good sample of service design. Why do you think this thing happened with me? Any clues? No?
Nobody tested for me.
Actually, my fitness has been operating for years, and it looked from the customer service perspective that I wasn't the only one who it happened. They were stone-faced to me. In my opinion, this happened because they have different systems. They have different gyms. They have online system which some IT guys have been building, putting pieces together, and they didn't run in the same service design perspective. And there was no holistic customer point of view. And if I'm going to talk about service design, what is service design? Then actually service design is building your company according to customer needs. You take all the service touch points, you combine them together, and try to find positive solutions for every service touch point. So if I move forward, I go here. So I'm going to talk about the different levels of service design. And if I'm looking at the service touch point, then actually the web from the MyFitness was one service touch point. And the customer service girl who was attending me, she was also a service touch point. And if you take all the service touch points together, you could get service design. And service design is a holistic view of all the customer experience. And if you're creating a company, then you have to look the customer journey from the holistic side of view. And if you move further to more complicated systems, then you take organization, for example, behind the MyFitness. Who are the people, who are the segments working with IT, customer support, finances, and you have to put them all together in order to have a better customer experience for the customer. And if you put different organizations together, then you get system. For example, if you combine MyFitness with some other gyms, and if you put all the gyms together, then you can get a system. They can also collaborate. And the highest level is ecosystem design. It's our world. If you want to make changes in ecosystem, then you have to do transition design, which means this is very long process. If you're talking about ecological changes, clean water, pure electricity, and so far. These problems can also be solved with service design because they are all based on customer, which means people's needs. I move forward. I wanted to talk about what is the difference between managers and designers. I myself am a product manager, which means I'm running a product in my startup. And since my service design times, I noticed that in business thinking and design thinking, there are differences. And I really want to go through them with you guys. If you take managers, then they really love Excels, numbers, sheets, they like to organize it. And designers love Post-its. They put it on walls, they reorganize it according to customer needs. And if you saw before the customer journey track, the designers are thinking always about the customers. Managers sometimes are thinking about numbers. Designers are thinking about the pure opportunity space, about the different possibilities what you can make, about the positive outcome what can come. And managers are thinking about taking the data they have and trying to take a decision based on that. Managers are taking all the data from past and current situation and trying to make a decision about this thing. But designers have to be a little bit visionaries and thinking about customer needs and thinking about what could be the better future situation. If you're taking the previous talk I had, then there was very nice ending words that you have to be visionary. And the biggest difference, in my opinion, if you take managers and designers, is the difference that managers, for example, if you take a startup, they want to start with an idea, and designers want to land on the idea. It's the different viewpoint of the process. It means that when I did my master's, I was looking into many companies producing mobile applications, and I found out that many of them were created for the sake of creation. Developers had a great idea, tried to implement it, and that's why 80% of mobile applications never earn back their costs made. And there are so many apps that even don't earn anything. But designers want to land on the idea. That means that they want to find out the customer need, find out the strategy behind it, and find out the problem, and then move on to the idea. It's a continuous iteration until you get something right, and from that you can move on into development. And to illustrate that, I'm going to show you soon some graph, but before I'm going to talk about the problem identification. It's the same problem I was talking before, that many applications are created for the sake of creating them. For example, some companies think, oh, it's so cool to have a mobile application, or it's so cool to make a startup, and they get an idea and start going on with it. But actually, they are not considering all the aspects. This is one of my favorite quotes of all, and it says, it's about Albert Einstein, and it says, if I had 60 minutes to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes defining it and 5 minutes solving it. Which means that if you have defined the thing you're going to do, then the execution doesn't take much time, and you don't have to go back to it. And this is actually the base model of service design. And if you're thinking, then here is actually the actual coding and IT part, which is actually the core center of it. But before that, you have all the layers which are surrounding it and which you have to go through before you start. For example, you have to design a strategy, philosophy, and ideology of the thing you're going to produce. After that, you have to design the service processes and systems. And actually, this thing is the good illustrator about and the parallel of my fitness. Actually, if you had designed the service processes and systems, then this thing haven't happened to me, and I would be happy and very fit, which I'm not. After you design the service processes, then you think through your product. You think through pre-service, service, and after-service. And in best case, it starts to wind up and make a spiral. So all the customers are coming back, because the customers who are coming back are the cheapest ones to attain. And this is the goal of every product and service. Actually, which I forgot to mention is that even all the products are services. That service design is a very broad area. Even toothbrush is a service, because you need the service of clean teeth. If you start to think about it like that, then you can implement service design to almost any process. And if you're offering a product online, then you have to think about it as well as a service, because it requires pre-purchase, during purchase, and after purchase process, which has to be thought through, so the customer experience would be successful. And after you have thought through of every customer need that could come up with your product, then you go and start to design and develop your product. And this is a sure way of not failing, or at least giving you a good chance of succeeding. When I started doing my startup, I felt a little controversy. I was a service designer, now I'm a product manager, and I felt so many things are overlapping. I'm doing the same thing, but on another seat. And then I realized that actually service designers and product managers are really alike from the core nature. For example, they both have to think in technical features, and they both have to think like business managers. If you're considering UX and design, then in product managers, the UX is more technical, and the design in service designers is more broad. But the general layers seem to be the same. And I feel really good in my position now after I have made this discovery. That's about it about service design. Now moving on to startup life. We've been doing our startup since August, And as I said, we are in private beta mode. And my team is not very big. It's constantly with me. I have 4 people and overall 7 people as satellites. So I really have to be good in choosing the persons I work with, because this is a very foundation of my company. And actually, if I were composing the team with my co-founders, we are 4 co-founders. We were looking more like people, not like the skill set, and how they match between us. And we were getting them all to have one-on-ones and meeting with each other before we were hiring them, because the human aspect is much more important than a skill set, in my opinion. And if you have a great team, you can achieve anything. And I think we are on a good track. This is actually a very painful slide for me, because my background is design and advertising, which is actually very detail-driven and very, how do I say, sophisticated in the way that you don't get anything out before it's polished. And now I'm in a startup world, and 80 versus 20 means that 80, if you want to get something done, then 80% gets into like actually doing it, and 20% gets the polishing. And the polishing actually takes the same time as the 80% before. And in startup world, you teach the 20 and you go forward with the 80. And it was really hard for me to not polish anything and get it out for our customers. And when I had my initial wireframes ready, I was running with them through different customer types and showing them, and my heart was bleeding because they were not polished as much as I wanted. And I was making all the changes, because service design is always like adapting to your customer needs. I went to one client, made some changes, went to another, and I didn't have time to polish. But I think that this gave me a really good place to start my company. And if you think of service design, then service design is actually a very long process. If you're thinking all the layers you have to go through, then this is not something you can do in Garage 48 events. If you have to have had those discussions in your head before you go to Garage 48 events. And usually when people go to those events, much of them have not thought of all the process and starting to think them at the venue. And it's good that they're starting to think them there, but their outcome would be more resultful if they would have thought all of those things before. And time to time I'm seeing more thought through projects, and I'm really happy about it. Let's move forward. So, if I'm thinking about what's going to happen in the world and in startup life and in service design, then I really believe that service design is central to Innovation 2.0, because service design is people-centric, it's ever-changing, and it's considering all the needs. And innovation projects actually have to consider people's needs as well. So this is a good starting point. And this is actually living proof that service design is getting its foot down. 30 creative agencies, which means design service agencies, were acquired by tech companies like, Facebook, Google, Accenture, Oculus, McKinsey, etc. in the last 4 years. And if you're thinking about starting a company or joining a company, then the startups which have service designers as co-founders have 20% higher chance to be getting more funded. And the ones during the research, the ones which have service designers among their 10 first employees are getting better results. The next big thing in service design is actually living services, which means that if we are designing services, then we have to think about that the services are always around us. It's the wearables, nearables. They have to adapt to customer needs. They have to do it interactively. For example, if you have some needs, you cannot wait for like half year or something for the service to adapt. So if you're thinking in 10 years' time, then living service is a big thing. This is actually what I'm trying to achieve in our startup. And I think it could be helpful for many other companies as well. That you don't think in your head that, okay, now my product is ready. Or even if you're doing customer support and getting all the minor things and having the product roadmap in your head, which is indicating you that you shouldn't go away from your focus, or you should stay in a certain mode, then my opinion is that you should be always keeping in mind that you have to change. You have to change according to customer needs, and you have to be always in a beta, which means that if you're taking an example from advertising world, which I love, there were two companies renting out cars. One was Avis, and the other one, name I don't remember. One of them was number one in the market, and the other one was number two. And the number two's slogan was, "We try harder." And it gave the image that they are always putting an effort, they're always trying, and they are never saying no to customer needs. And being number one is always being self-confident and having the market leader position. But even if you're number one, in my opinion, you have to always be in beta mode, which means that you have to always be alert and keep your spine really upwards. And that's about it. I'm really welcoming all the questions if you have about service design. Yes?
Is there any good known framework or standard so to go through the service design in the right way?
Yes, there are many tools. For example, it depends on what phase you are. For example, if you already have a living service phase, then you can do road mapping, which means you put different service aspects, for example, acquiring, managing, and after customer support, and you put the happy phase, neutral phase, and frowny phase. And you try to draw the customer's journey throughout the service, and you will find out which service touch points are with negative emotion, and you try to uplift them. And you can peg different stakeholders into the service episodes, and you see what kind of help you need to getting this bad emotion into good emotion. And if we are talking in service design, then we are always talking in personas, which means you always take some real customers. You're not thinking about in your head. You always, I do focus groups, I do persona mapping. You can talk as well, what are you using? And we always take real customers, put them in front of us, ask them all kinds of questions, and never assume in our heads, because assumption is a mother of all disasters. Questions? No?
Can you scroll back a few slides, please?
Yes. Tell me stop.
Yeah. One more. This one.
Yes.
It looks quite waterfall, doesn't it?
Waterfall?
Yeah.
Actually, when I was doing my master's, I was studying all the development plans, like Scrums and Waterfalls and Agile, and this is actually iteration. And I think that you can also adapt this to why, how, what, which means that you can make it even more simple. Waterfall has many components. This is more simple, and even more simplistic is why, how, what. I think you have seen it on TED Talk. Simon.
Maybe it's rather slicing the same topics constantly. So you are not doing all like first, second, third, and fourth, but you're just slicing and going back and then doing it again and again until you have the understanding, learning points of what you are building. So this is not, you don't need to do everything at step at a time, but just have slice of everything, the same as if you build a software, then just you have slices of user interface, logics, and data. So
Yeah, but
that was the question.
One slide before, that
Yeah.
was Einstein's quote that most important is to understand the problem.
Yeah.
And that's actually Waterfall's kind of strategy, that we will analyze and design everything and then start.
I see. I see.
And I see that and we kind of respect such kind of approach.
Mhm. The bad thing is, if you don't understand what you are doing, then it's much. There is no hope that you will solve the problem in 60 minutes. And maybe that's the trade-off.
I'll give you a point. It's, kind of your comment is that I've been through many times where we started with a problem, and it's actually, I always emphasize the importance to always make sure that the problem remains the same and that you always keep it in the forefront. If you, I've seen many times where we then look at the technical solution to the problem, and then the technical solution becomes the problem. And you forget exactly what you were to solve.
Then you go back to the beginning.
You go back exactly, and eventually when you release it, you were nowhere near solving the original problem. And that's one of the things you always have to be careful with, is that you have to make sure that whatever you're trying to achieve, you always remember why you were doing this in the first place.
Mhm.
What was the original instigation, and what was the actual the business value?
And you always, in this model, you always have the possibility, if you find out, for example, designing a client experience or developing, that some things in the first phase do not add up, you can always go back.
Another comment in this is you should associate, I don't know how many people are familiar with the bullseye targeting approach as well. When you actually go into this, is not only do you make sure that you're actually focusing on the problem and actually making sure that that's always the forefront of what you're trying to achieve, but you also make sure that you overlap that with what we refer to as bullseye targeting. Is that who eventually do you want to buy this? Who's the person that you want to be using this? And you work your way out to make sure that actually sometimes there's people that you don't want to target. Sometimes there's people that you don't want to use the product that you're creating. I created security software, so I don't want hackers buying my software. So you work your way out into that bullseye targeting. So it helps you make sure that it helps focus on who's the right people and solving the problem.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's very interesting, discussion about it, but I think that the developers often don't take the 55 minutes time, which should
No, they don't.
They should take the 55 minutes of understanding the world they are now creating the service then too, so that they as the
I totally
people
agree.
before said, so that they just jump into solving and then creating the technical
Yeah,
problems.
for
afterwards.
them actually, it's good communications between the head of product and CEOs who are actually thinking through the first three processes. And I really believe that you should already engage developers into the second part of designing and service processes and systems, because usually the developers get involved only in the phase 4. And if you engage them before, then they have a wider perspective of what they are doing and can even influence the setup of the service processes and systems, because they have valuable knowledge. And I myself try to engage as soon as possible. And even if they think that this is like too holistic talk for me, I want more technical stuff, then I still engage, because it's useful in the longer run, so they know where they are starting. And actually, when I started to do startup with my team, then I had hackathons, which were where we had focus points. So already on strategy, philosophy, and ideology, and the service processes where I, with my co-founders, engaged all the levels, design and development.
Yeah.
And it's made things much more easier for me. I don't have to explain into very high details when we start the development process. They already know when they're thinking about solutions.
I totally agree that bringing developers on the first step is crucial, and setting together goals and strategy together, designing the strategy together is really something that breaking the thinking templates of developers and helping them to get to the point.
And I don't like very hierarchical systems where you have information coming from top to down. I really appreciate very flat systems where everybody can collaborate, and if you're taking this model, then it's possible for everybody to collaborate. It's not a very easy thing to do in a very large systems, but if you're starting startup, then please be very flat. Yes?
You said you don't assume anything, but I can't believe it, because in the first place you still assume something, and then when you do target groups, you probably, they assume something.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to talk about assumptions. It means that if I'm taking my own startup, then actually the idea didn't come from assumption. It came from the personal need and the pain. Then I started to assume maybe other people are having the same pain. But then I physically went to other companies, other people, and asked them. And I didn't assume anything. And I didn't wanted to guide the conversation. I wanted honest feedback. And based on that feedback, our product changed a lot. We had focus on the whole customer life cycle, onboarding, offboarding, vacations, all the reporting and stuff, which are big companies like Bamboo HR and Workday, and they are doing. And then I found out the real place for customer pain and where is the opportunity. And I did it only because of talking to customers. I didn't think it in my head. And I think this gives a real value. Yes.
Maybe one comment also, this assumption is good if you call this hypothesis. Then it's becoming scientific.
And you cannot build products on assumptions.
Yeah, but on hypothesis you can.
Yes, you can. And actually, there are many products which are built on hypothesis.
Yes.
I just said it.
Yes.
And this is the 80% of the products that fail, that don't make back their development costs. And if you think for big companies who, for example, Apple, who thinks that they know what the customer needs. Actually, they have many people inside their company. They have so huge network that they can do the personas and customer things inside their company. They don't have to go outside.
And they still get it wrong.
No.
Lately, what are you saying?
Only product that works.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Kind of works.
Yeah.
Works.
Kind of works.
But actually, Bill Gates said that we know better what user wants. We don't even ask them.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Sorry,
Not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
Yes,
Steve Jobs.
that's what I'm talking about. That if you're a very big company and if you have a vision, but I still believe, I don't know, but I still believe that they had many user inside packers inside their company. It's not like one guy sitting in a couch or sleeping at night was thinking about this one product. This was a process, I think.
And probably Steve Jobs was a service design genius himself when he used some product.
Yes.
Well, he created the market itself, so that you don't really need to ask for someone.
Yes. These are exceptions, the unicorns. Okay. More questions? Thoughts? Okay. So thank you for attending and for your collaboration.